This section of the New York State Inspection Regulations encompasses 79.16 through 79.20. The cool part about this is 79.16, 0.18, and 19 are all sections that have been repealed or reserved for future use. So really we're going to focus in on 79.17 and 79.20. You can find these regulations within your textbook at pages 30 through 36. We'll start with section 17. The qualifications of an inspector are pretty simple. First of all, the inspector must be 17 years old when applying for their New York State inspection certification. And they must have experience. So that experience can come in a number of forms. The first being that they have 1 year of experience repairing motor vehicles within the last 5 years of calendar time. Some of you may have that experience, some of you may have not. So those of you that don't, another experience qualification is that you can have completed 1 year towards an AAS in automotive technology. That actually encompasses all of you as students. You're in your second year, you've already completed your first year, so you guys meet the experience requirement. The last experience qualification that is allowed is if you did a 2-year BOCES program and graduated with a diploma in it. They will use that to fulfill the experience requirement. All inspectors must complete an inspection training program. It doesn't have to look like this. It actually has to be done by the DMV. So you will have a little training session by the DMV. It's all done online. It's not a live class or anything, but it's a presentation that is made for you guys to get further training. Lastly, you must pass a written test, and that written test is also online, put on by the DMV. The duties of a motor vehicle inspector are found on pages 31 and I went too far. Start on page 31. Basically, it can be summarized by you performing a prompt, thorough, and efficient inspection of motor vehicles. A lot of you will get good at doing thorough inspections pretty quick. You can follow the regulations, maybe you already have in the lab, and you make sure that you don't miss anything. But where we have to get you is to be efficient with it, to get a little bit faster. Most dealerships that pay their technicians flat rate will pay their technicians somewhere around a half an hour's worth of labor. Some of them a little bit less, maybe 24 minutes. So you have to get good at being fast and thorough with inspection. You have to also be able to make minor repairs on things that fail. And by minor, it's kind of a vague term, but maybe like light bulbs, wiper blades, maybe even tires. You're not required to fix all things. If you're not qualified to fix all things, you can still be qualified as an inspector, but you are required to do some minor repairs. You're required to have a knowledge of all the regulations, and these regulations sometimes change. Sometimes things are added, sometimes they're taken out, but you have to know the regulations. If you don't have a memory that's good enough to commit all of these regulations to your memory, that's no big deal. You always know where you can go find the regulations and read them and interpret them correctly. If the DMV requires technicians to come back for a motor vehicle training session, you will be required to do that. I haven't seen one of these in 20 years though, but sometimes they do a little document that you're forced to read on the CVIS. But again, DMV reserves the right to have you guys come back for some training sessions. You're also required to make correct entries in the CVIS. So when you're inputting a vehicle and its outcomes, you're required to do that correctly. When you get hired at a inspection repair facility, you're required to give the inspection facility your card so they can add you to the CVIS. You're not giving it to them to hold on to. They're just inputting you and handing it back to you. You can't do inspections until you're inputted into their CVIS. And lastly, when you're working on a car or at a shop, you're required to have your inspection card on you at all times. some miscellaneous inspection duties. You're never allowed to allow someone to use your inspection, or you're not supposed to leave it unattended. Even though the login screen of the inspection CVIS machine requires you to put a password in every time you do an inspection, it's still not a good idea to leave your card unattended or allow someone else to use it. Anytime you get your licenses lost or stolen, obviously the DMV needs to know about that, and they will likely renew it for you. When you get your permanent license, once you pass your test, the temporary license that they give you, in the meantime, you're supposed to destroy that. So you're not supposed to have two licenses on you at one time. You're supposed to destroy the temporary one. Inspectors are required to renew their licenses every 3 years. And sometimes they say they'll check for your continued work experience. I haven't seen this happen in the last 20 years though. But every 3 years you resubmit your renewal application. You give them your money. I believe it's like $15, and it's typically renewed. All right, Section 79.20 is the generic inspection procedure. So it starts by saying that an inspection rejection notice must be given to the customer before the vehicle leaves the premises. So obviously if the repairs have been made, you're going to give it a sticker. But either way, when you start an inspection, the customer is leaving before they leave with an inspection rejection notice or an inspection sticker. A rejection notice is not an extension of expired sticker. Except for one scenario. So if a vehicle fails the safety portion of an inspection or the emissions control device portion of an inspection, that little rejection notice does not give them any additional time. However, if it fails the OBD2 emissions portion of the inspection, it does give them some additional time to drive the vehicle to get the OBD2 monitors to run. All customers must be given an invoice. And that invoice has to have the following information on it: date, facility number, inspector number, the VIN number, again, year, make, model, plate, that type of stuff. The actual fee that was charged to the customer, and the result of the inspection. Did it pass? Did it fail? Or were there any warnings when an inspection was performed? And lastly, if it passes, the inspection sticker number is given to the customer. All of this information is actually found on the inspection report, and so you just give the customer the inspection report that's printed out by the CVIS, and that checks that box for all those items. All inspection procedures must be conducted within the enclosed portion of the facility, except for the brake equalization test, which we'll learn about in the next module. It's required that you pull the vehicle inside the shop to check lights, to check windshield, tires, brakes, all those things, except for making sure the vehicle stops straight while you're actually stopping it. That can be done on the parking lot or on a road test. And this also does not apply to trailers. Trailers can be done in the parking lot as well. So we need to get information to input to the CVIS when you do a New York State inspection. And that vehicle information should be obtained from the vehicle in a number of forms. Number one is the VIN plate, which you guys are probably familiar with seeing. Looks like this. Typically it's found below the windshield, and oftentimes it's in better condition than this one. Another option is the registration registration sticker on the window, which looks like the right side of this screen. That registration sticker, we can pull the barcode off of that or the vehicle information. And the last part place we can find information is the registration document, which when you go to register a car, it comes on the same piece of paper as that sticker. We can get it from there as well. Another section is the the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard sticker, which is found on most new vehicles. It's found on the door or the door jamb, and it has the VIN number. It also has a barcode that can be scanned. If you do not have any of these documents, or the VIN plate is missing or mutilated, so you really can't tell what the VIN number of the car is, what year, make, or model it is, you are to refuse to perform the inspection. You can't inspect the car if we can't tell New York State what it is. So that is, again, if we don't have the information for the car, we can't do the inspection. If the VIN plate is mutilated, we can go ahead and inspect that car, but we have to provide an additional form. The last bullet point of the screen talks about that. It's form VS110. So again, if it's just the VIN plate that's messed up or missing, you do not refuse that inspection. You actually perform the inspection, but you have to also apply with another form sent to the DMV. When the vehicle comes in for a New York State inspection, the service advisor is going to meet the customer, and when they inform the advisor that they want an inspection performed, the advisor needs to ask if the vehicle has been inspected or rejected within the last 30 days. If it has been inspected and failed, all we're re-inspecting is the section or portion of the inspection that failed. We'll talk about that more in just a second. Any expired certificates that are on the vehicle, in other words, any expired inspection stickers, need to be removed from the windshield before the inspection is started. So if it's overdue inspection, you scrape the sticker and then you start the inspection. Any stickers that are still good with time remaining on them are left on the vehicle until the end of the inspection. A complete inspection needs to be performed according to the regulations before a sticker is given or a rejection notice is given. So again, you cannot do half an inspection and all of a sudden come up to something that fails and stop your inspection, go to the customer and say, I'm sorry, your car fails, this is why it fails. You have to do a complete inspection so you have a complete list of items that would fail the New York State inspection. And likewise, you cannot issue a sticker until all things have been checked and marked as good. If the computerized vehicle inspection station equipment, in other words, the computer, the monitor, the printer that DMV uses to interact with the technician, if that equipment is broken, you're not allowed to start an inspection because you're not going to be able to finish the inspection. Again, the goal is to start an inspection and it ends with one of two things, either the rejection notice printed out by the CVS or a sticker issued by the CVIS. So if it's broken, you can't start it. If the equipment breaks during the inspection does not count, and the vehicle will need to be re-inspected. And by the way, don't charge the customer. It's not their fault that your equipment broke. So again, if it doesn't end with either a rejection notice being printed or a sticker being issued, it does not count as an inspection. We can't keep charging customers because of broken equipment. All right, when the vehicle passes the inspection, we'll take the sticker and we're going to do a couple things to it. And I'm going to go to the next slide to show you. So you guys are probably familiar with this. That inspection sticker, when it's issued, we punch the month, the current month in it, and that gives them exactly 1 year to get it inspected. And on the back of the sticker, we write the vehicle's mileage. If it's a trailer, we have to punch out that little black circle with a T in it. You have to punch that out as well. And because a trailer doesn't have an odometer on it, what we do is instead of writing the mileage on the back of the sticker, we write the plate number of the sticker. And obviously, if there's no windshield on a trailer, so we give that sticker to the customer, and the customer holds on to it. So again, if it's a vehicle, it's a car, truck, we punch out the month, we write the mileage, and we stick it on the lower left-hand corner of the windshield. If it is a trailer, we hand it to the customer with the T punched out, and we write the plate number on the back. And all that information is listed right here. By the way, the proper placement of the sticker is the inspection sticker goes to the farthest side of the windshield, the left side, the driver's side, right next to the registration. Again, as shown in this picture. All right, if a vehicle fails an inspection and it comes back in within 30 days of it failing, all you do is reinspect the portion which failed. So, for instance, if it failed safety, all we're reinspecting is safety. If it failed emissions and the safety passed last time it was in, we do not reinspect safety. All we reinspect is emissions. And we have to do a complete inspection of that portion. So again, if it failed for tires, when it comes back in, we can't just check the tires. We have to check all of the safety items, the lights, the seatbelt, the windshield, the wiper blades, all the things. That's within the last 30 days of a reinspection. If it comes back in over 30 days, so again, let's say 50 days after it had failed, you do a complete inspection with all portions. Lastly, is if a vehicle has been modified so that the chassis has been extended to move more people, put more seats in it, or if the purpose of the vehicle is a passenger vehicle for a business, that gets a different inspection called a Department of Transportation inspection, and that's done by someone from the DOT.